My name is Ben Wilson, and I will be presenting students' motivation for standardized math exams. The purpose of this study was to see if students reacted differently to the high stakes type testing as compared to some type of test as part of the typical curriculum. And also looked at individual learners' characteristics to see how each of them approached different test taking environments. The participants were 8th grade students that achieved certain math standards, which I didn't put on here. They were pretty extensive, and they all received at least a B- in their respective math class. 35% of these students were white, 65% were African American, which was representative of their school. It didn't say what city, town, or county this school was in. It just gave the demographics. An interesting aspect, there were no lower level remedial or special ed students included in the study. They weren't interviewed. It seemed like there was a bias toward the students, that these students would just kind of give the same answers, which I feel like it would have been good to hear from them and see how their struggles might be similar or different to students that achieve A's or B's in math. And then Hispanic, Asian American, and other ethnicities were not represented at all. It'd be interesting to hear from different ethnic groups and cultures how they might see standardized test taking in math. The data categories were achievement goals, how well the students thought they could do or they wanted to do, self-concept, how they saw themselves as test takers, were they good test taker, bad test taker. Self-efficacy was kind of confidence in test taking. Test anxiety, we've all experienced that, just being nervous before the test. And then cognitive processes, what they're thinking as they're taking the test. One aspect was ideal test takers versus real test takers. The ideal is what we'd all like to have in our classroom. They know what they know, they have realistic expectations, and they really want to excel. The real test takers are unsure of what they know. They do not care as much how they do in the test, nor do they know how well they might do. And most students are real test takers. And so the question is, how do we motivate them to do their best, both on standardized tests and tests in the classroom? Finally, application and questions. What now? Here are some interesting issues. How is anxiety in math tests different than other subjects? This is just math. What about other topics that they might see on testing? Students seem to care more about assessments that count for a grade compared to standardized tests. So how can we, as educators, help them really see the importance of the standardized test? We as teachers can give students confidence to do well and to ease their anxiety. And a lot of times this is just as important as learning the content and skill in the classroom. And then lastly, we looked at 8th graders. What about elementary students? What about high school students preparing for a test like the ACT? How might we be able to help them do well on those and do their best?